I feel like it's necessary to always remind all of you that PragerU is some of the most egregious propaganda on the internet. I feel like I say this every single time we cover PragerU, but they lie about everything. And it's very easy to falsify. Now, granted, it's a pain in the ass because I have to go out of my way and Google shit and look it up and actually find out the truth of what they're talking about. But there has never been a PragerU video that we've watched where I haven't been able to go Google a study that they've cited when they make an argument and find said study doesn't make the argument that they're making, or that the story they have some person on the video telling isn't actually true, or massively misrepresented to make it push an agenda. PragerU is like pathetic propaganda. However, today we're covering PragerU, and it is a video called "Is California Going Up in Flames?" Now, literally speaking, yes, California is going up in flames. I can say that as somebody who now, as of almost a month ago, lives here. I live in Palm Springs, so thankfully I'm pretty safe from this, but yes, there are a lot of wildfires, which can be attributed massively to climate change. Wildfires, like we're seeing, like we saw at the beginning of the year in Australia and have been seeing for the last couple of years in California, are attributed to man-made climate change, to human-driven climate change, which I know PragerU doesn't believe in, ironically enough. However, I have the feeling that PragerU isn't talking about literal wildfires. It's talking about California as a concept, as a state, figuratively going up in flames. They're like, I don't know, trying to claim that illegal immigrants are coming into sanctuary cities and ruining everything, and crime is going up and all these things. This isn't really like an issue that's happening right now. California has the most, I think next to New York, the most thriving economy. I realize I haven't eaten today. Has the most thriving economy next to, I believe, New York is maybe in second place. It might be in first. I don't remember exactly. An extremely powerful economy. The strongest state economy, I believe, in the entire country. There is a homelessness problem. That's admitted. I'll admit that. But that's like by far, like not the, that's nothing compared to most states and the issues that they also have. Overall, California is a pretty fucking powerful state. Culturally, economically, there's a lot of tourism. Geographically, it's a pretty fucking good state. But let's find out how it is figuratively, not just literally, going up in flames.
California, the Golden State. Home to Hollywood, Silicon Valley, Napa Valley, glitz, glamour, and now, blackouts. In 2019, California became the first state ever to intentionally deny electricity to its own citizens. No power for your home, your Tesla, your cell phone.
I have a feeling that's not true. I have a feeling that it is not true that California was the first ever state or the first state to ever deny electricity to their citizens. Video too loud, needs to be like 50-60% volume. God, you guys fucking suck when you don't tell me immediately that the video is too loud. Holy shit. Hold on, I'm actually curious about that. Let's look into it. I hate having to fact check these videos, but California, first state to deny citizens electricity. Some dumb ticker wouldn't stop throwing COVID parties, so they shut off its power because fines weren't working. Oh! Wait, but that was in 2019. Hold on, let's see. Here's from LA Times. Well, I mean, first thing that came up when I searched, California denying electricity to citizens is Los Angeles Times. California invested heavily in solar power. Now there's so much that other states are sometimes paid to take it. On 14 days during March, Arizona utilities got a gift from California, free solar power. Well, actually, better than free, California produced so much solar power on those days that it paid Arizona to take excess electricity its residents weren't using to avoid overloading its own power lines. That happened on 8 days in January and 9 in February as well. All told, those okay, so that sounds like it is making a point very different from what this is trying to imply. I'm assuming the implication here is that California is like failing and going up in flames, figuratively speaking, and thus this is resulting in them not having enough power. They didn't deny anything. The power was shut off for tech work a while, that's it. So some people are telling me the power was just shut off because they were doing like some maintenance or something and it had to be done, while other people are telling me that the state shut off a TikToker's electricity because he kept throwing parties during COVID and fines weren't working. The guy just kept paying or ignoring the fines, so they shut off his power to get him to stop throwing house parties during a pandemic. Now, either way, I would argue that's justifiable. However, here in the Coachella Valley, where I live, in Palm Springs, from my understanding, during certain times of the year, it is illegal to shut off for the state or utility companies to shut off your power, because during the summer it gets up to 120 degrees here, which it is outside right now. Speaking of that, babe, could you turn down the AC a little bit? And if the AC isn't able to turn on, old people will like die in their homes and their apartments and stuff like that. So they aren't allowed to shut off the power during certain times of year. Now, I heard something about rolling blackouts or rolling brownouts. That's where the notorious poo-poo piker meme comes from. But that's like a thing that happens all over the country. The AC is on, and it's been on the entire time. Okay, my back is just getting sweaty. Okay, maybe I'm just, my body heat is extra warm today. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think rolling like brownouts are. Hold on, somebody sent me a link. Let's see. Massive power blackouts could become a way of life. Let's see. For California, massive power blackouts could become a way of life. As PG&E begins a second round of fire safety power shutoffs, it warns a third, bigger blackout could be needed as soon as the weekend. Wait, so this has to do with the heat and the fire. This has nothing to do with, like, the state purposefully denying its citizens electricity. If you want to fix this issue, hey, better do something about climate change, because guess what? The fires are going to get worse, and the temperature is just going to get hotter here if we don't do something about climate change. Did you know? I heard, I don't know if this is actually true, but apparently power lines have melted because it's gotten so hot here in California. Hold on, let me check. California power lines melting heat. I believe this is a thing that happened. Yeah, like wildfires have melted power lines and shit. Okay. Yeah, no, that's exactly what I thought. That's exactly what I thought it would be. So, you don't take issue with the state of California, as in, like, the state, as in the state government. That's not the issue here. The issue here is climate change. The fact that there are natural disasters happening right now in the state, which are driven and exacerbated by man-made climate change, which you guys deny the existence of, despite the overwhelming, like, decades-long consensus among all scientists and climatologists that man-made climate change is real and we have to do something about it, or things like this are going to happen. There are 2 hurricanes happening right now in the Gulf, as well as, I believe, a hurricane happening right now in the Atlantic on the other side of that little, like, thin part of what's it called? Central America. There are 3 hurricanes happening in this area. 2 in the Gulf and 1 in the Atlantic. That's fucking insane. That's and scientists have been warning about this for years. They've been warning about it for decades. For decades. That this is going to happen. Wildfires, sea levels rising, worse and more common hurricanes. They've been talking about it for a long time. This has nothing to do with the state of California.
Or maybe your oxygen tank. This is California we're talking about. Not some impoverished third world country. California. If it were a sovereign nation, it would be the 5th largest economy in the world, ahead of the UK and France.
Damn. Sounds like those lefties know how to make a powerful fucking economy, huh?
But in the hot, dry months of late summer and early fall, it can no longer provide electricity to its own citizens. It has to shut down its aging power lines or risk starting another catastrophic fire. In 2018, the town of Paradise burned to the ground.
So there was nothing that when we looked up what's causing these fires, there was nothing there about faulty old power lines. Also, these fires don't happen because, hold on. Wildfires are normal, okay? Wildfires are normal. They happen everywhere. As a matter of fact, just this month, thankfully after I got out of Florida, the area in Florida, the very humid, rainy, wet area in Florida, where I came from, had a big old wildfire nearby. And thankfully it went out within a few days because of rain. It's Florida, you know. However, here in California, due to climate change, it is very dry, and thus, everything is very flammable. Fires happen. Lightning strikes, people throw out a cigarette on the side of the road and it lands in some dry grass. Somebody, is playing with fire and something happens. Somebody leaves a candle lit and it falls out of a windowsill onto the ground. There are a lot of reasons why fires can happen. However, I don't think arguing that the infrastructure in California that delivers electricity to its people is the issue here, especially because you said that California would be, if it was a country, would have the 5th largest economy in the world. Yeah, Antifa starts all the fires, it's true. Also, it's not an issue with there not being enough power. As a matter of fact, California has invested so much in renewable energy, as we saw earlier, they are giving it. They have so much. They're like, hey, Arizona, have some. Just have some free. We'll pay you. We have so much we have so much extra electricity. You can just have it. We'll pay you to take it. We have too much winning. Okay, I don't think this is making the argument, or I don't think reality is lined up here. I mean, we know it's not because it's PragerU, but still.
10,000 homes were destroyed. 85
Damn,
people
climate
died.
change. Damn, climate change sucks.
In 2017, the Redwood Fire killed 9 people.
Damn, climate change
California
sucks.
has always had wildfires, but now the fire threat is worse than ever.
I wonder why, Mr. Conservative conservative mouthpiece on PragerU, climate change denying PragerU. Let's see, from Scientific American, first thing that comes up when you look up California wildfires is Scientific American, fast-moving California wildfires boosted by climate change. Nearly 24 large blazes have burnt more than 1 million acres of state. Firefighters battled nearly 24 wildfires in California yesterday after a week of raging blazes blackened more than 1 million acres across the state. The fast-moving fires, which are seen by many scientists as a sign of climate change, have killed 5 people, destroyed more than 1,000 structures, and forced thousands to flee. More than 238,000 people either evacuated or were ready to go as more thunderstorms threatened to light new fires yesterday afternoon, according to officials. Yes, this is a symptom of climate change. PragerU, the anti-climate change people, the people who claim climate change isn't real.
Why? For the answer, we should look to one of the state's leading citizens, Leonardo DiCaprio. The reason these wildfires have worsened is because of climate change. Case closed? Well, not quite.
Oh, I love PragerU for this. I love when PragerU does this. They're so fucking dishonest. Oh my god. Imagine being such hacks. Okay. So, this is something that PragerU will do. They will try to weaken the argument of the left and of the opposition by like framing it as though it's like celebrities and these like coastal elites that are making these arguments that don't really have any actual scientific that don't make it seem like that don't actually have any scientific credentials to make these ascriptions, right? When in reality, he is only repeating an argument that has been recited over and over and over again for decades by, what was it, 98.2% of the scientific community? I think it's almost 100% of the scientific community agrees that man-made climate change exists, there needs to be something done about it, something drastic done about it, and that it is this that's and that you know, we need to do something about it, you know? 97%? Let's see. Hold on, let me make sure 100%. Percent of scientists that agree on man-made climate change. Here it is. On skeptic.com, first thing that comes up. How we know global warming is real. Basically explains the science behind it. You can see, while this is basically the little chart that reactionaries use to argue that the Earth goes through periods of heat and cold periodically. You have, you know, during 400,000 years ago, boom, big spike. During 300,000 years ago, boom, big spike. 200,000 years ago, smaller spike. 100,000 years ago, pretty big spike. But now, another 100,000 years later, we're seeing a fucking double what anything we've seen throughout history. Unprecedented spikes in global or carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and global temperatures. This is for you know, global temperatures here. Yeah, so it's 97% of the scientific community that agrees man-made climate change is a huge fucking deal. This goes into all of the explanation behind, fuck off, please, behind like global warming and all of that, and how it works, you know, greenhouse gases, all of that kind of shit. All right, but what PragerU is doing here is framing it as though it's just like Hollywood actors pushing the climate change agenda, and then they're gonna cite like one disgraced climate scientist, or maybe like it's usually like a philosopher or like a self-help doctor like Jordan Peterson or something that they'll cite saying that, oh yeah, by the way, climate change isn't actually real, and then they'll like go off of that to make the argument that in reality the scientific community is split, or the consensus is actually that climate change isn't real, or something like that. I don't know.
But Leo isn't wrong. Climate change has made the problem worse. He's just not right in the way he thinks he is. Let's get into it. Long before global warming became climate change, Californians had to...
Oh, God. This is like you have to keep an eye out for this conservative talking point. So, a while ago, when you heard about climate change, you would hear global warming, global warming, global warming. Because, you know, in general, the Earth on average was warming very, very quickly. The problem is climate change is or global warming is a symptom of climate change, which is a more broad umbrella for all of the things that are going to happen as time goes on due to climate change. So, for example, some places that are supposed to be warmer are going to get unusually colder because of climate change. However, despite the fact that we're seeing more extreme weather conditions, we're also going to see just a general rise in temperature. And on top of that, we're going to see rising sea levels, more extreme hurricanes like we're seeing right now, more extreme and more common wildfires like we're seeing right now. The Bush administration also changed it to make people less afraid. This is public knowledge. It is public knowledge. The problem is people like on PragerU are paid to lie. They're paid to lie to millions of people, and for some reason, YouTube still lets them stay up. And not only that, but YouTube still lets them pay, I assume, hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe less, I don't know how much YouTube ad space is worth, to advertise incessantly on their videos. Actually, I'm hoping, do you know why they named this video the way they did? Instead of like, oh, climate change isn't real or whatever, they named it the way that they did because if they didn't name it this way, then guess what would happen? Do you guys know what happens when you name a video with climate change? Boom. YouTube corrects or adds this little section called context below that leads to the Wikipedia article on climate change. So if you're watching some dumbfuck skeptic YouTuber or like a reactionary right-winger talking about how climate change isn't real, YouTube makes the actual scientific consensus appear below the video, so you can't not see it. You can't not know that the bullshit that the person is saying does not agree with the overwhelming scientific consensus. And reactionary YouTubers got so fucking angry about that. Right-wing YouTubers got so fucking pissed. Same goes for, I believe, what was another one that they do it for? There was another one that they do it for that's really, really funny that pissed people off. I think it was, COVID. They did it for COVID too. Yeah, so like COVID, people who lie about COVID, they also get that done. I think they did it for QAnon as well. Yep, QAnon. QAnon is a far-right conspiracy theory alleged a secret plot by supposed deep state against President Donald Trump and his supporters.
You want to hear a conspiracy theory?
No part of the theory is based on fact. Look how fucking straightforward it is. No part of the theory is based on fact. I love that. I fucking love it. Yeah, same goes for Pizzagate. God, this made right-wingers so fucking mad. This is why you know PragerU didn't actually include... oh no, it's not there for Pizzagate.
In October 2016, WikiLeaks released over 33,000...
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, they did it for the Holocaust as well. You guys can look that one on your own. But, yeah, they also had to do it for the Holocaust because there was, a lot of right-wingers on YouTube denying the Holocaust. So, this made the right really, really angry. So that's probably why the name of this video is so weird, because they don't want YouTube correcting their lies right below the video, saying, oh, yeah, by the way, here's the actual truth of the situation.
Deal with fires. The hot, bone-dry summer and fall winds, thick forests, and dense brush that cover good portions of the state made sure of that. As the state's population grew, the citizens, always aware of fire risk, took steps to mitigate that risk, sometimes intentionally, sometimes not. First, there were large-scale logging operations. These helped thin the forest.
Wait, is he going to argue that the logging operations are good because it makes it so there's less to burn? Wait, what logging company's CEO is paying this guy? Is it a logging company CEO that's paying this dude today? Hold on, what's this guy's name again? I want to know this guy's name. I assume he says it at the end of the video. I want to know who this guy is. I need to know who this guy is before we move on. We're at exactly 2 minutes in. What's his name?
Finally turn on in the heads of California voters. I'm John Cobelt for Prager University.
John Cobelt. All right, what CEO of what are you? John Cobelt. John Cobalt? Cobelt. Co-built. Maybe? Why don't they say his name? Like, why don't they show it on screen like usual? Ha! Oh god, never go into a PragerU comment section. It's not a wildfire. The trees are just having a peaceful protest. Oh my god. Oh boy. God, these people are subhuman to me. Hold on. How?
I'm John Cobelt for
John Cobelt. They don't even... Oh, the John and Ken show? This did come up whenever he looked it up. Oh, hold on. Here's this guy's thing, alright? This is what this guy is, apparently. The John and Ken Show is an American talk radio show hosted by John Chester Cobelt. Oh, so that's his name, Cobelt. What is his deal? Seems pretty fucking irrelevant besides his little radio show. PragerU page on him is from... Fuck off, PragerU. Is from northern New Jersey and entered the radio business as a sports writer after dropping out of Seton Hall University. He currently co-hosts one of the most listened to talk radio shows in the US. That's disconcerting. The John and Ken Show, along with Ken Chimpao. The duo provide entertaining and provocative analysis of what's happening around Los Angeles and across the nation on a range of subjects, including politics, healthcare, business, and local issues. In 2003, Cobill and Chimpao were instrumental in the recall of California Governor Gray Davis. The duo was named one of the 100 most influential people in Southern California by Los Angeles Times in 2006. Okay, so we'll just assume some fucking logging company is paying this dude for this segment, or paying PragerU to do this segment. Neat.
Forest. Then there were controlled burns, fires purposely set to clear areas of brush in fire zones, which were then quickly extinguished.
Okay.
As the influence of the environmental movement grew more pronounced at the end of the last century and into this one, the state's policy changed. First, new regulations sharply curtailed logging operations.
Good.
Cutting down trees for lumber was depicted as almost an act of cruelty.
Yeah.
Even clearing dead trees was frowned upon.
Not
Controlled
usually, no.
burns reviewed this.
Well, generally, no. Like the dead trees that are typically protected in the state of California, from my understanding, are ones that have like some kind of historical, or like that they're on like a protected land or something like that. They're actually dead trees that are like landmarks. Dead trees are really important for wildlife habitat. That's true as well, yeah. Like they're habitats for animals as well, like dead trees. You know, even if they aren't alive, it's not just the trees, it's everything that lives in that ecosystem as well. No, hold on. These fires are not being caused by climate activists. Also, let's think about this in a logical way. Let's think about this in a fairly logical manner. Do you think that cutting down trees in the arid, hot state of California is what was preventing the wildfires from going crazy? When there are leaves and brush and shit on the ground. Have you guys seen the ground of a forest? That's not what's doing it. The scientists all agree it's climate change. They aren't citing a single study or a single fact in this. This is really fucking dumb.
Same way. It was much better, the environmentalists contended, to let nature do its thing. And as housing became more expensive in the big...
Actually, I know they're lying about this. Thank God I went to a fucking... Now, say what you want about Florida education, but thankfully I went to a school of environmental sciences when I was in middle school, so I learned a lot about how this works. I know for a fact environmentalists weren't arguing against controlled like burns to help prevent wildfires or whatever, or to, you know, whatever, because forests, especially pine forests, which there are a lot of in California, need controlled burns to grow. The if you guys have you guys ever seen a pine cone? Here, I'm gonna teach you fucking liberals something really quick. This is actually really important, particularly in Florida at least. I don't know about California. So pine cones generally look like this. They're closed up and they have a sort of sap resin that keeps the seeds inside the pine cones from spreading around. You actually need fire to melt those seeds, or to melt that resin and make the seeds spread around. Otherwise, they have to like spread out and open up on their own. But there are species that like literally need controlled burns. I believe this is one of them. I believe this is one of the species that actually needs controlled burns to do that. Plants eating fire is called pyrophytic. Yeah, pyrophytism, I believe it's pronounced. Pyrophytism? I don't know. Don't old redwoods always have black marks on them from the old fires reached? Yeah, generally, you can see those as well. Yeah, no, I don't think environmentalists are arguing against that. They haven't cited a single instance of this. Maybe they will, and we can go look it up and debunk their argument.
Big cities, Developers started to build homes further from metropolitan areas and closer to the wilderness.
Okay.
Parallel to this was the state's green energy.
Wait, that's just urban sprawl. That's all that is. That's just a symptom of a thriving economy and massive population. Urban sprawl happens. The cities expand. I mean, urban sprawl is kind of dumb. I've heard arguments as to how it's a bad thing. I don't know enough about it to like make a very definitive statement on it. I've heard that urban sprawl is a bad thing, but not like a leftist or liberal thing. Like this isn't an argument against the state of California.
Mandate. Governor Jerry Brown declared that California would be powered entirely by renewable energy.
Yes! And guess what? They created so much efficient renewable energy, specifically through solar power, because, you know, big deserts with lots of lots of sunlight out here. I'm glad we looked this up. We can just debunk whatever he's about to say right now. There is no power shortages, and it's not causing any issue. California literally has so much electricity, they're paying other states to take it. Good thing we did our research, because, damn, I love when I already know a fact so that I can debunk PragerU as they're setting up the lie. Because that's how PragerU works. They like do a little bit of build-up before they do the lie. They'll say a few true things, and then they drop the lie. But I know we can debunk the lie before it even gets said, as they're doing the build-up.
Mostly wind and solar by 2045. Tremendous pressure was put on Pacific Gas and Electric, the state's largest energy company, to get started on this project. Here's where Leo gets it right, if unintentionally. The green energy mandate turned the power company's attention and resources away from the power grid and to wind and solar.
Okay.
How did this lead to new and deadlier fires? Let's put the pieces of the puzzle together. Wildfires can be started in all sorts of ways.
Okay.
Lightning strikes, campfires not properly put out,
True.
a cigarette carelessly tossed away,
True.
or sometimes straight up arson. But the worst.
Do you remember the talking points in Australia about how the climate change, like the big wildfires in Australia, were entirely caused by arsonists and not climate change? Like, sure, some of them might have been started by arsonists, but I'm pretty sure arsonists weren't keeping these fires spanning for miles and miles and kilometers and whatnot. I feel like they're giving a bit of a cheeky nod to the climate change denial when it comes to the Australian bushfires that were happening. I live near to PG&E power plant, and we've been having rolling blackouts here in North California. Fuck PG&E. Pacific, yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen like any, like from what we've read, I haven't seen any evidence whatsoever that the state's focus, the power company's focus on renewable energy has made it so that they aren't able to focus on their infrastructure, and thus power lines are faulty, and that's starting fires? That literally makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Literally no fucking sense. What difference in the way that they are producing power? What difference causes like there to be a change with like power lines happening? Nobody, like, the arguments about how fires are started is irrelevant. The argument needs to be about why are the fires so extreme, why are they spreading so fast, and why are they so hard to put out? That's climate change. That's the problem.
Culprit of all is power lines. In 2018, fully half of California's wildfires were started by power lines or related electrical problems. It's not hard to figure out why. California's power grid is ancient. Most of its towers were built before 1950. Some of the lines are so old they qualify for the National Registry of Historic Places. The lines that are failing and sparking fires? No surprise, the old ones.
So, this may be true. I don't really think it's necessary for us to look up whether or not this is true. It's PragerU, so it's probably not, but we don't need to because this is irrelevant. This is irrelevant to why the fires are extreme as they are. The fires are extreme as they are because of climate change. The scientists agree on it. They've been predicting this for a long time, since back when this dude's fucking back before this dude got his first hair on his chin and started denying climate change on his little fucking bullshit conservative talk host radio show or whatever the fuck. This is irrelevant. And if this is actually happening, which it may or may not be, just divert funding. I'm pretty sure if the state knew that this is actually true, then the state would divert funding to fixing this problem. Do you know how much in money and resources it's costing the state to deal with these wildfires? I'm pretty sure if this information was readily available enough that the state would know what is causing these fires, then they would be willing to divert the funding to do something about it. So I'm guessing this isn't what's causing most of them. I'm guessing this isn't as huge of an issue as PragerU, notorious liars PragerU, are making it out to be. However, even if that's the case, it's irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant. We need to work on climate change so that the climate isn't such that these fires are capable of spreading and being as extreme as they currently are. Sanderhall, we spend so little on infrastructure and he doesn't want to increase it, Lamau. Yeah, these people would argue fiercely that we shouldn't put more money into infrastructure here in California, when we absolutely should. Don't get me wrong, putting more money into infrastructure, absolutely something we ought to do. But yeah, Lonnie, it actually is how the fire started, but that infrastructure is PGE's responsibility to upkeep. Yeah, so it's Pacific, what's it called? Pacific, I don't know, Pacific Gas and Electricity or whatever? I don't remember. It's not the state's job to fix the infrastructure because PG&E owns it, owns all the infrastructure, and the costs for doing so are high, that they outrate. Oh, so it's a capitalism issue. Okay, that makes sense. So it turns out the infrastructure isn't to be fixed by the state. It's the power company that actually owns all of the power lines, and they're the ones that are neglecting to fix them. Oh, that makes so much sense because they're going to try to blame the state mandating that they switch to renewable energy, to say that they put so much money into renewable energy that the corporation can't afford to improve their infrastructure. Ah, okay. Yeah, I'm sure PG&E, the most successful, powerful power company in California, can't afford to replace some power lines. Okay, yeah, totally.
The deadliest fire in California history, the 2018 Camp Fire that burned down Paradise, was caused by equipment that dates back to 1921.
Damn. Sounds like we need to make it so that these private corporations actually spend money to actually invest their money in improving their equipment. Damn. Yeah, no, I'm completely down for that. The state should require them to do it. There should be a state mandate for them to do that. I'm fucking 100% down. Hell yeah. Fucking tighten the grip around that corporation, my dude. Hell yeah. Fellow fucking left-leaning person, I guess. I don't know if that's like a leftist opinion, but at least liberal, you know?
100-year-old equipment. It's not that the power company didn't know there was a problem. They knew.
Yeah.
But they were focused on more pressing political priorities, like green energy.
Ah, I called it. He don't miss. He don't fucking miss. I called it. I knew exactly what they were going to do. They were going to try to blame this really fucking successful rich corporation to not spending their money on improving the power lines, to instead focus on green energy, when they can absolutely do both, because California is producing so much green energy that they're literally giving it and paying other states to take the excess green energy that they produced and saying, oh yeah, we don't have enough money to improve our power lines. You did call it, Lonnie. Lonnie, I love you. This is why it's good to have you in chat, because you did 100% fucking call it.
That's where PG&E, a public utility, which just means it's the politicians who call the shots, put its money and
Is that true? Because I don't think that's true. PG and E. Old power lines. Let's actually look it up, because I know for a fact it's going to be some fucking bullshit. Isn't PG&E private, though? Here's from Wall Street Journal. PG&E knew for years its lines could spark wildfires and didn't fix them. Documents obtained by the Wall Street Journal show that the utility has long been aware that parts of its 18,500-mile transmission system were dangerously outdated. PG&E Corp knew for years that hundreds of miles of power, high-voltage power lines could fail and spark fires, yet has repeatedly failed to perform the necessary upgrades. Documents obtained by the Wall Street Journal under the Freedom of Information Act and in connection with a regulatory dispute over PG&E's spending on its electrical grid show that the company has long been aware that parts of its 18,500-mile transmission system have reached the end of their useful lives. The failure last year of a century-old transmission line that sparked a wildfire, killed 85 people, and destroyed the town of Paradise wasn't an aberration, the documents show. A year earlier, PG&E executives conceded to a state lawyer that the company needed to process many projects all at once to prevent system failures, a problem they said could be likened to a pig in the python. Even before November's deadly fire, the documents show the company knew that 49% of the steel towers that carry the electrical line that failed need to be replaced entirely. In 2017 international presentation, the large San Francisco-based utility estimated that its transmission towers were an average of 68 years old. Their mean life expectancy was 65 years, and then we can't read any further without signing in or subscribing. Gotta love the Wall Street Journal. Yeah, no, they knew about it for a long time. I don't think this has nothing to do with the politicians calling the shots. PG&E isn't publicly owned? Oh, they just lied there? Hold on, let's look it up. PG&E publicly owned. Did PragerU just straight up lie? Pacific Gas and Electric Company, PG&E, is an American investor-owned utility, IOU, with publicly traded stock. The company is headquartered in the Pacific Gas and Electric Building in San Francisco, California. Okay, so they just straight up lied. It's a private company. It's investor-owned. However, you can just publicly trade stock. Like, you can buy stocks publicly like you can with basically every fucking company, like Apple or whatnot. Okay, so they just, like, blatantly fucking lied. Like, it's as easy as a Google search to find they lied. That's nice. If you want to read the Wall Street Journal article, use GitHub. I'm fine with that. It's not necessary. They blatantly lied here. Cool.
Resources. In 2018, PG&E spent $2.4 billion on renewables. By comparison, in 2017, it spent $1.4 billion on existing infrastructure.
Hey, damn, maybe these private corporations ought to spend more money on their infrastructure so we don't end up having statewide wildfires everywhere. Damn, sounds like capitalism's the problem, my dude.
So let's review.
Corporate greed.
The forests grow ever more dense. Brush builds up because controlled burns are not permitted.
Hey, guess what? Denser forests and more healthy wildlife habitats don't cause the types of wildfires that we're seeing. The scientists agree it's because of climate change. You can get some pretty bad wildfires from dense forests. However, dense forests only burn if they're dry. And they get drier and more arid because of climate change. The scientists agree. It is a consensus. There is no debate in the scientific community whatsoever. There's none about the existence of man-made climate change and what is causing these issues. The debate isn't real. It's not happening. Only conservative cucks and fucking demagogue mouthpieces push this bullshit to try and claim it's out there, it's up in the air. The consensus isn't really out yet. There's debate about it. There just isn't debate about it. There is not debate about it whatsoever.
Developers build in wilderness areas, and the dominant power company chases its renewable energy mandate at the expense of nuts and bolts line maintenance.
Let's go ahead and go over every single one of these examples and talk about how this has nothing to do with the California state government and how it has absolutely nothing to do with green activists or whatever the fuck. So for starters, no, it has nothing to do with denser forests. Denser forests that are alive don't burn as much as dead ones or arid ones, which is being caused by climate change. Brush, same thing, having to do with climate change. Urban sprawl is the result of independent private construction companies that are selling land and constructing for private people has nothing to do with the state. And the infrastructure failing has to do with the private company, which you lied about, PG&E, refusing to spend money on improving their infrastructure when they make plenty of money to be able to improve their infrastructure, and yet they still refuse to. Damn, private companies, corporate greed, climate change. Sounds like those are the reasons these fires are happening. The reasons that scientists and climatologists have been talking about these fires happening for absolute fucking decades. So, sorry, PragerU, once again, you've tried to lie incessantly to my face, and yet the smallest bit of research has allowed me to find the truth in the situation. But sadly, unfortunately, for all of us, the vast majority of people will not go out of their way to do the research, and so they will receive unbelievably colossal, overwhelming support on this video, as they have. Unfortunate. But that's the life of YouTube. That's the life of being a leftist figure on YouTube. You have to recognize that it's very easy to say something stupid, quippy, and wrong, and go on with your day, than to go into detail correcting blatant misinformation.
Such are the things uncontrollable fires are made of. Where are we now? PG&E is in bankruptcy, sued into oblivion, with no viable plan to fix the grid. Instead of...
No, good. They should be getting sued. I wonder, hey, why are they being sued? Let's look up why they're being sued, actually. PG&E sued into bankruptcy. PG&E filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in January 2019 in the face of an estimated $18 billion in damages it faced from causing that fire. Last month, the utility pledged guilty to 84 counts of involuntary manslaughter for its role in those killed in the incident. Hell yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. Keeping those corporations, holding those corporations liable for their behavior. Yeah, sounds about right. Wait, this guy literally blamed PG&E, well, inadvertently blamed PG&E for these fires, and now he's upset that they're being sued? That they're facing the consequences of the law for basically being the cause of the death of 84 people? Okay.
Bringing vital infrastructure into the 21st century, California is voluntarily turning itself into a third world country. That's what happens when progressives and...
Holy shit. Hey, listen. This is pretty evidently ridiculous. I don't feel the need to debunk it. But what I will say is, I live in California, and I will die on this hill. Florida is way more like a third world country than California. Florida is 100 times more like a third world country than any part of California I've seen. Without a doubt. Florida is basically a third world country, to be completely honest with you. Florida is definitively a third world country. It's true. Cutting trees also stops the Cutting trees also stops the water of getting sucked out of the soil, and that makes it so there's less rain. It is like basic biology and geography. Cutting trees also stop water from getting sucked soil, and it makes it so there's less rain. Oh yeah, it's true. Yeah, climatologists also would probably agree on that. Yeah, no, I've lived in Florida all my life, and now I've lived in California for almost a month. Florida is a third world country. California is like is unironically the Golden State. I fucking love it here. I absolutely fucking love it here.
Environmentalists run things. The Golden State isn't going...
Environmentalists aren't running things in California, okay? Leonardo DiCaprio isn't running things in California, okay? Having a large amount of social influence does not mean running things. The politicians may be left-leaning, but they are not environmentalists, okay? They look at hopefully, they look at the data, they look at the consensus of scientists, they listen to what climatologists have to say, they listen to their advice and say, hey, yeah, we need to do these things, and they do those things. You have no issue, or at least you think you do, but you don't actually have an issue with climatologists at all. You have a problem with a private corporation that has neglected improving their infrastructure in exchange for making more money to conserve their profit.
Green, it's going broke, and it's going dark. When that happens, maybe a light bulb will finally turn on in the heads of California voters. I'm John Cobelt, for Prager University.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to ad hom this dude, but holy fuck, he looks like a gremlin. Fuck, what's this dude look like? Can we show this guy's teeth
The
again?
university.
Damn, those teeth. Those teeth, though, goddamn, look at that. You can see there's like one of them is like sharp, kind of like it chipped or something. This this tooth is like, look at his like teeth. This guy's got to be like a millionaire, right? Like he's a big time like conservative talk show host. Why does he get some fucking Invisalign? He can afford it. He can afford it, you know? Anyway, I wouldn't make fun of his appearance or anything like that if he wasn't a literal fucking sociopath pushing blatant lies to people to try to make the world a worse place for his own personal gain. Regardless, though, once again, PragerU gets blown the fuck out for their blatant lying by based bread-pilled Xanderhall. You love to see it. It's funny, you can blame climate change and capitalism on all the problems that he listed in that video, but he tried so hard not to say that it was climate change and capitalism causing the problem. Fucking hell, dude. It's crazy.